We're talking killer object horror movies. These are the objects of our doom. When talking about killer objects, I've got to first lay out some parameters. It must be an inanimate object, obviously. Not living, no animals, no plants. So no killer tomatoes. And no doll or puppet horror movies, because I've already done an entire video of doll and puppet horror movies, and you can check that out. And I know that should count, but I've already done that, so I want to do things that are not those. The object may be possessed or cursed or something. However, the object must do the dirty work. It cannot be used just as a gateway for something to come in and do the dirty work, like the hand and talk to me, or the mirror in Oculus, or the lament configuration in Hellraiser. Obviously that doesn't count. Also, I want to say, look, these are killer object horror movies. Most of them are not going to be great. They're going to be the type that are so bad, they're good, or entertaining, or at least fun, or maybe even just trippy, because one of them's just trippy. I will keep these as spoiler-free as possible so I don't ruin the films for you if you do decide to see them. And I will just give a synopsis and maybe a few thoughts on the films for you. Also, I will list the films below with their year and where you can stream them as of right now. That's subject to change. Things come on and off of streaming at all times, but listed down below in the description will be the movies, their year, and where you can stream it. For number 1, we're talking 2019's Killer Sofa. Directed by Bernie Rao, it stars Jed Brophy, Jordan Rivers, and Nathalie Morris. What do you get when a rabbi, a detective, and a voodoo priestess come together? This movie. A D-book-possessed recliner falls in love with a girl and starts committing crimes of passion. And yes, it is called Killer Sofa, but it's not a sofa. It's actually more like a recliner or a lazy boy, just so you know. But let's be real. Killer Sofa sounds better than Killer Reclining, or Killer Reclining Chair, or Killer Chair, or Killer Lazy Boy. Killer Lazy Boy is not too bad, but I think that's trademarked. So Killer Sofa sounds great. This is definitely a B movie. It is a popcorn film for certain. It's fun, it's silly, and I actually did watch this when it first came out with Gruesome Magazine. We reviewed it there, and I will tell you that I felt like this movie is way better than it should have been. It's shot really well. I love the lighting. I love the use of fog in this. The recliner is also so very expressive. It has like 2 buttons on it, you know, I guess like the buttons from some tufting, and it actually looks like eyes, so it gives it some sort of expression. The way that they use the movements for the recliner work really well. Like when it's like looking or moving, and it's very simple, but it actually works. I found this movie actually very entertaining and very amusing, and it's a lot of fun. Killer Sofa is on Amazon Prime right now. For number 2, we have 2018's In Fabric. Directed by Peter Strickland, it stars Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Leo Bill, and Gwendolyn Christie. A woman named Sheila is trying to get her life together after being recently divorced. She learns her ex is dating, so she decides to do the same and heads to a department store to get a new dress for her first date. As you would, she wants to look her best. She picks a really lovely red wrap dress. It's like my favorite shade of red. It is so bold, like in your face. This movie begins by following Sheila and her family, but as it goes on, it starts to follow the dress. So there's a bit of a transition throughout the film. There are witches, really odd and weird mannequins, a really weird mannequin scene actually that is really very, very weird. And the dress does plenty of work in this one. I will tell you that this film will most certainly not be for everyone. No. It's slower, more artistic. It's an A24 film with some truly weird moments. So if you do not like giallo movies, you will not like this film. It is definitely very giallo. There is also not much gore in this film, so if you're looking for that, that's not here either. But there are some really intriguing scenes in this, and there's a really great scene with the dress just annihilating a washing machine, and I don't know why, but I found that so interesting. If you're interested, it's streaming right now on PLEX. And if I do mention that it's streaming on PLEX, it's PLEX for free with ads, so just so you know. For number 3, we have 1977's Deathbed, the bed that eats. Yes, that's what I said. Directed by George Barry, it stars Damien Hall, William Russ, and Dave Marsh. A demon falls in love with a woman. He conjures a bed and a human form to make love to her, but she dies in the process. He is very sad and he cries tears of blood onto the bed, which make the bed come alive. Now the angry bed is trapped in an abandoned mansion. There is a weird artist dude that is trapped behind one of his paintings as well, who's watching the entire thing, and he's actually the narrator, so you learn most of the story from him. He's got a very nice voice, I will say that, super nice. This film is separated into sections or vignettes. It's breakfast, which is actually all on screen before the title screen, actually. Lunch, dinner, and just desserts. We actually really just go through a ton of things throughout the years with the bed. Does it really need to be separated into vignettes? I don't know that that means something. I am probably missing a ton of stuff that are happening with this film. Because this film, when I talked about the trippy film, this is the trippy film, okay? This is an absolute B movie film, and it is wild. There's not much gore, there's some. It has some of the weirdest imagery surrounding the bed. There's odd yellow bubbles and yellow liquid, which I'm assuming is like bile from the bed, like that's how it's digesting things. Yeah, there's colored fog and crazy weird breathing and sounds associated with the bed. Like it's bad, weird, trippy. At one point even the bed like drinks Pepto-Bismol. But it's in this yellow liquids. I think they shot most of this stuff like in an aquarium or something and through like glass. Yeah, because a lot of it is these weird underwater yellow shots that are wild. There's also these weird skeleton hands that happens, which is crazy and wild, and I don't get it, but it's actually really funny too, because the way that transpires afterward is like, oh, okay, I mean, that's crazy. Honestly, I can't tell if I was entertained, maybe hypnotized, or possibly just in shock about what I was watching. The bed is absolutely gorgeous though. If you want to check out Deathbed, the Bed That Eats, it is on YouTube right now. For number 4, we have 1983's Christine. Directed by John Carpenter, it stars Keith Gordon, John Stockwell, and Alexandra Paul. This was adapted from a Stephen King novel with the same name. A nerdy and bullied high school senior named Arnie purchases an old, dilapidated 1958 Plymouth Fury named Christine. He begins to restore Christine at a local garage where he takes a part-time job to have access to the parts he needs to repair her. After he begins fixing up Christine, Arnie starts to change. The nerdy boy starts to fade away, and he becomes way cooler, more confident, self-assured. I have always really loved this film ever since I saw it as a child, and I still do. I know that some people actually don't like this film, and I don't really understand why. It's definitely one of the more serious films on this list. Obviously, the car is just so gorgeous and so beautiful, and of course it's red, which I love. I love 50s music. It's so wonderful. And they use a lot of that to give Christine her character. The songs will play when she feels a certain way or she's trying to say something to someone. And I think that is such a clever thing to do. And I love the way that it works. And so anytime you hear that music, you know, you're immediately like, uh-oh, what's about to happen? Things are about to get crazy around here. I know this is one of the better known films on this list, so you've probably already seen it. But if you haven't, or if you want to rewatch it again, you can check out Christine on HBO Max. For number 5, we have 2020's Bad Hair. Directed by Justin Simien, it stars Elle Lorraine, Joy Sunday, Vanessa Williams, and Laverne Cox. In the late 1980s, a woman working as an assistant in the music industry loses her mentor when she's replaced by a former model. In order to further her career, she is advised to get a weave to fit in more and to look more like that conventional beauty. Sent to an upscale salon, she does. Come to find out, obviously, her hair has a life of its own. There is some hair cream that she's given to put on her weave regularly to keep it tamed, I should say, and she is told never, ever, ever to get it wet. I also saw this earlier. I have always really liked this film. I know it starts off a little bit more seriously. It's still over the top and kind of silly, but it gets sillier and campier as it goes on. And Vanessa Williams is amazing in this. She's hilarious. I just think she's phenomenal and fabulous. It touches on a lot of issues with societal expectations of beauty. So it's got a really good message there. I really like the styling of the hair and how it moves and changes and shifts. It's kind of able to form any kind of form, and I think that's really fun. And there's plenty of carnage and everything. It's a fun watch for me, and I really like it. If you're interested in checking out Bad Hair, it is on Hulu. For number 6, we have 1986's Maximum Overdrive. Written and directed by Stephen King, it stars Emilio Estevez, Pat Hingle, and Laura Harrington. This is based on the Stephen King novel Trucks. The Earth crosses the tail of a rogue comet that brings inanimate objects to life, and they start attacking people. A group of people find themselves trapped at a gas station or a truck stop, whichever one it must be a truck stop because there's more trucks. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. No, it's got to be a truck stop because it's big and they have a lot of Mack trucks. I love that I'm just working this out right now while I'm recording this. Yay, really good at live. I know this too is a pretty well-known film. I mean, it's pretty much a cult classic, I would say. This movie is silly. It is wild. The dialogue is kind of crazy. There's a scene where Emilio Estevez is talking to one of the Mack trucks and talking about getting them gas, because what they want is gas. Obviously, they can't get around if they don't have gas in their tanks. So he's telling them about how great their gas is, and the way that it's worded, is kind of weird, like of how good it is. And it kind of makes sense because it ties into the fact that Stephen King says he doesn't even remember making this film. So that's kind of wild. And it was his first and only attempt at directing. I love it. I don't care. I think it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. It's really wild. And of course, one of the most memorable things about this is the Green Goblin truck. It is so awesome. It's so amazing. I love when its eyes light up. It's super cool. And of course, Stephen King has a cameo in the beginning of this film where he's getting money out of an ATM, and the ATM starts talking to him and calls him mean names. I don't know, it's funny to me. If you're interested in checking out Maximum Overdrive, it is on PLEX right now. Back in 1986 again, we have Chopping Mall. Directed by Jim Wynorski, it stars Kelly Maroney, Tony O'Dell, and Barbara Crampton. A mall has just installed a state-of-the-art security system consisting of 3 high-tech robots. Yeah, what's gonna go wrong there, right? 3 young adults decide to hang out at the mall and have an after-hours party. A lightning storm strikes and damages the robots and their servers and whatever else it is that they've got going on there. And of course, it causes them to go bonkers and start attacking. This is definitely a silly, cult, classic sci-fi slasher. I love this film. Lots of people love this film. There's some fun and creative kills and some decent gore. I do wish that there was more Barbara Crampton in this because I don't think that she was utilized to her full effect, which of course, obviously she wasn't. But this is a fun one. Absolutely recommend it. And if you're interested in checking out Chopping Mall, it is on Amazon Prime right now. For number 8, we have 1974's Killdozer. Directed by Jerry London, it stars Clint Walker, Carl Betts, and Neville Brand. This is based on the book Killdozer by Theodore Sturgeon, which was written like the 1940s, which is crazy. So pretty much ahead of his time. Construction workers uncover a meteorite on a job site on a remote island. Of course, they're on a remote island because they have to be stuck on it so they can't get help, which totally makes sense. Immediately, the bulldozer claims its first victim. Turns out the bulldozer that uncovered it has become possessed. Well, the job must go on, and no one thinks anything was wrong except for some freak blue light accident. Obviously, things go downhill rather quickly after that, and they realize things are not as they seem. This was a made-for-TV movie, and it feels like a made-for-TV film. But that does not mean it's not entertaining. The bulldozer is absolutely crazy. It just takes off doing its own thing, destroying things. The best part about that is the crew just sits there and watches it when it destroys like their camp like this. It's wild. They're just, well, what can we do? Because really, they really can't do anything. I mean, I get it. There's one scene where the bulldozer goes and like knocks rocks off of a cliff, I guess to try to create an avalanche. It really does nothing, but it's funny for some reason. I don't know why. I just think it's super funny. There's some really weird and odd 1950s sound effects in here, which I kind of like. It does kind of have like a 1950s horror film feel instead of something from the 70s. And I will say that the acting is very good, you know, for a movie about a killer bulldozer. If you're interested in seeing Killdozer, it is on PLEX right now. For number 9, we have 2020's Slaxx. Directed by Elza Kephart, it stars Romaine Dennis, Brett Donahue, and Shahar Bojani. Retail clothing store employees are on lockdown for the launch of a super shaper designer jeans. It's meant to conform to any shape or body. These jeans start their killer rampage, and the store manager basically does anything to try and cover it up so that the launch will go well because he wants to further his career. If this goes well, he knows he's made it into the higher ups, okay? I have already put this film on another list, but I will tell you that I like this film so much, I'm putting it on this one as well, and it fits entirely too well for this theme. So it must go on this. It's one of the better films on this list, actually. It's one of my favorites. This movie is so very funny. I love Bollywood, and there is definitely a Bollywood connection here. There is a scene with the jeans, and I just love it so much. I just can't tell you. I think it is absolutely hilarious and so funny and very clever the way that it's done. There are so many clever and creative kills here, and there's a lot. And it starts off relatively quickly. And then being on lockdown, they don't have cell phone service, you know, so there's not much that they can do. And then at the end, I mean, it's just a massacre. It's just a little bloodbath there, and I love that about it too. This one is freaking amazing. I love this film. If you are interested in watching Slaxx, it is on SHUDDER right now. For our 10th and final film, we have 2016's CarousHELL. Directed by Steve Rudinsky, it stars Haley Madison, Chad Bruns, and Chris Proud. This is definitely the least well-known film on this list. It is definitely an indie film. I have watched other films from this director, and they are very funny. He is very talented. It is very good, okay? Duke is a carousel horse. Duke is a carousel horse that hates his job, of course. Kids climb on his back and he goes in circles for hours every single day. As he is contemplating life, he decides that's it. He's had enough and he's going to break free. So he does. For some reason, he is focused on a kid named Larry, or he goes by Lunchbox. And so he follows Lunchbox to a house party where his sister is like made him go with her. Basically, that's the whole gist of the movie. This carousel unicorn is on a killer rampage, and it does a lot of damage. Are you ready for a truly B movie experience? Because this is it. At times, it's just straight up dumb. But but it is very, very self-aware. Funny, silly, it's got some surprisingly good gore and quite a bit of it. And the carousel horse does all of the dirty work here. Doesn't matter if he's using his horn, a machete, a pizza cutter, plastic flamingo. Yeah. Also, there is a very weird and wild sex scene in this. Yeah. And then things take a dark turn. If you're interested in watching CarousHELL, CarousHELL 2, or CarousHELL 3, yes, there are 3 of them, you can check them out on PLEX right now. Have you seen all the movies on this list? Are you planning on watching any of the movies on this list? And what would you have added to this list? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I really do hope that you have the most amazing day, my spooky darlings. Once again, I would love to thank my Patreon members for being there, for supporting me. You are so truly, truly awesome. Thank you so much.